All right, welcome back. This is still the Polity. There were some updates there. We saw the APC presidential candidate speaking on his ambition and speaking to youths and promising them a role in his government should he come to power in a few months from now. And now let's move over to the topic of discussion today, the state of the nation and some issues that are of salient imports to Nigerians. I've been joined in the studio now by a legal practitioner, Mr. Samuel Insecurity Jr. He joins me to break down some of the things happening in the country right now. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon. Happy New Year.
Wish you the same. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Our phone lines are open, so you can call in to make your contributions or ask your questions. And now, let's start with the issue of insecurity.
Yes.
I'm sure you're aware that President Buhari gave a December deadline for, so to speak, a rounding up of all the elements and the issues affecting Nigeria's security. And he gave that standing order to various, security agencies and personnel. And it was expected that this would be one of the things to round off his 8-year tenure in office. Now let's take a look at some of the things that have been happening. Just on Saturday, if I get it correctly, around 4 p.m., about 30 persons were kidnapped at the Igweben train station in Edo State. And, we've been hearing different responses, and it seems as though travel is still a big problem in the country. Moving from one place to another is not as easy as it used to be. Someone made the analysis that in the past, in other developed countries, it takes longer, or it used to take longer to get from one place to another. But with developments, it reverses the case. What do you make of the president's order? Do you think that he's not being listened to, or he's not within the power of the security forces?
The leadership of Nigeria, they should understand that whatever they do, a day of accountability will come where they have to make account of all their actions and inactions. First and foremost, the president of Nigeria is actually a politician. And if we want to go by the character and the antecedents of politicians, mostly the ones in the ruling party, no Nigerian who has been affected by everything that has been happening in Nigeria would ever take them serious. But however, coming down to the more recent issue of the kidnapping at Ugwebe, it's quite unfortunate because that is my senatorial zone, and that seems to be my hometown where we sharing borders with the precise village where I come from. And so it's very shocking that after the incident at the Kaduna train station, where some supposedly terrorists, who till today we've not actually had a formal report as to what happened. They shut down the train station and diverted it away from the rail track. And a lot of atrocity happened. We've not recovered from that. Where some brilliant and beautiful Nigerians with potential were cut short by that incident, and nothing. And I understand the train station has resumed. Coming down to the issue of the train station now again, this time around, the kidnappers, they have the capacity, they have the boldness, they have the mind to invade the train station, a federal government facility for that matter, that ought to be protected with everything Nigeria has, and kidnap as much as 30 people. It's actually shocking. It's not something to just wave, or it's something to salient questions need to be asked, that in the sense, where are we heading to in Nigeria? What is happening to our security architecture? The state's security, the local vigilante, the Edo State security president, what is happening? The security vote, the money being given to the governor every month, what is happening? That security, adequate security cannot be stationed at the facility of the Ugwebe rail station, and we have an issue of this nature that almost 30 persons or thereabouts were kidnapped from the train station. Is actually appalling, and it calls for a deeper implant in all the security agencies in Edo State, the DSS, the police, the civil defense, even the local state vigilante service and the Edo State, they have this local security network. They should form a synergy, and they should do everything within their powers to rescue those innocent citizens who the only thing, I think, the only offense they have committed is to be at the train station at that particular time. It's something, it's more touching and it's so emotional for me because I'm from that part. And I'm very, very sure if I should put my ears close to what's happening there, it might even be shocking to know one of my relations might even be one of those people who were or my far distant relations. So I'm imploring the security agencies to please, we are tired of this. We cannot continue in this manner again. They should do everything to secure life and properties. I know with some of the security agencies, with the little resources they have, I know they are doing their best. But they should also understand that they owe the citizens the right to safeguard our well-being. They should do everything within their powers to make sure, beyond the politics and rhetorics of what politicians come to assure us all the time, they should, all the security agencies, they should take steps to safeguard life and property, and most importantly, government infrastructure like railway and others.
That's fair enough. When you speak about security forces and agencies, I'd like to bring you back to something that happened just last week or over the weekend. There was an incident of some policemen, getting hit, or a policeman getting hit by a car and the assailant running away. And someone made some, I call it hateful comments towards the police. And he said that even if he were to see policemen on the verge of death or thereabouts, that he would not lift a hand to help. And I think the worrying part of this was that he got a lot of agreements. And so we saw the police spokesman, replying and saying that it was disheartening to see that Nigerians wish the police bad or would not raise a hand to help policemen who are simply trying to protect lives and property. I wonder, what do you think should be the response to this? The fact that some of these opinions are now being held widely, that people do not, a number of people do not see the police uniform or policemen and feel safe. They feel the opposite, that something might happen to them. How should the police react to this vitriol by some Nigerians?
The Nigerian police issue and the perception of the Nigerian populace towards them is quite disheartening, and it's not something that is in any good light at all, in any good shape. Quite fortunately, the police spokesman is my very good friend, Muyiwa Dejobi, and from time to time I converse with him, and we have deliberations and discussions on how some of these issues, without actually stretching it and having fight all the time, how we can actually resolve some of this issue. First and foremost, I want to tell Nigerians that the slogan "the police is your friend," it's in the positive and it's also in the negative. We have, in every society, we have some good people and we have some bad people. We have some very, very good policemen, some very hardworking policemen who are actually good, who are appreciable in their actions and in their deeds. We also have very notorious policemen who, civilians who are unprovoked, they just take gun and end their life and well-being on it. And so I will encourage the authorities of the police. I know with the last incident of the lawyer who was killed in Lagos, a marching order has been given to every policeman not to attempt to kill citizens. But as we know, we always have this incidents of citizens being made down and police brutality. So I'm imploring it on the police authorities. They should do more retraining, more of seminars for these officers who are burying us. And the calls for police reform, some of us have been making from time to time. I will also enjoy the police authorities to please heed it. I don't want to go on repetition of what we've said so far in different seminars, forums, programs have come on air this way. They should. It's not a hidden fact. The Nigerian police is actually calling for reforms. Then I also enjoy the citizens to exercise caution. We are in a stage of actually seeing how reforms can come to the police. They should be a little bit patient with the system, because if there is no policing, I will not have even been here today. If there is a total breakdown of law and order, anarchy, I will not be in this place today. So you can't wipe out the police authorities from any sane society. They are a part and parcel of our day-to-day activities. So, but what I enjoy the authorities, the enablers, the management, the police hierarchy, to see how they can do retraining, and seminars for their officers, and evaluation and psychiatric evaluation for those officers who are bearing arms, in order for us to leave this this impasse we have, and the perception of the society towards the police. This is my candid opinion for how we should advance to how the public see police. Because some of us have been involved in so many things, and here and there, and so it's no hidden fact that we know what is happening inside and what is happening inside. But it's actually called for an holistic review of the activities of the policemen, and so that the little confidence some of us are even having on them, so that it doesn't erode, and the society will not turn to a very brutish society where everybody have to pick arms and guns against each other. So it's good to save the cat when it's still alive.
That's fair enough, and I think Nigerians would see that's a balanced way of looking at things.
Yes.
Rather than completely having hating the
very
police,
bad perception,
or also not accepting that the police has some issues they need to fix. And now let's just quickly touch on the 2023 budget quickly before we move ahead. The budget has just been passed. We have that there is still a deficit, and the government is also seeking to, buff it up with various forms of borrowing, including from the CBN. What do you make of the budget, really? And also the fact that the allotment for fuel subsidy will be ending in June, at about June 2023. And then from then on, nobody knows what really is to come. What are your predictions, and what's your assessment of what's going on so far, budget-wise?
Nothing is going to change. It's the same Nigeria, the same enabler, the same people in power, the same authorities. I don't see any change from the way it has always operated. But however, I wish the incoming government to look into this budget implementation as a first step, and also to check as one presenter said, our gbese, our foreign debt, see how this, because the alarming amount Nigeria is being owed at, Nigeria is owing at in foreign debts. Any sane nation owing that much, you don't expect to see proper implementation of budget, because they marry. So I don't expect I don't expect a change from what we have known all other years, and I wish the incoming government, they should pay close attention to this year's budget and see what can be done in order to strengthen Nigeria.
That's fair enough. Perhaps that's something we'll be delving deeper with a business or economic expert. And now let's move over to what influences all of these things and what has a key role to play. Talking about politics.
Yes.
In every issue of governance, we cannot remove politics, because that is how we get to governance. So before I go into some specific questions, I'd like your assessment of the way things have been going so far. Is 2023 going to be a nexus point? Is it? People say that in every election, politicians will tell you that this election is the election that will determine your future. This is the election that will break it or make it. And when the next election comes, they say the same thing again. What is peculiar about 2023? And how do you assess what you've seen so far?
Yes, the 2023 election is one of the most peculiar elections in the history of Nigeria. I've looked at it closely. The painful thing about the electioneering time is you can actually have a fair pin down of the outcome of how it's going to be. And you see this party thriving tomorrow. You seem to see this other party thriving tomorrow. You seem to see this other third force, Labour Party and the rest of them, making so much noise. But as it seems today, as I keep saying, it seems the the ruling party of the day, they seems to have an upper hand. But don't also underlook the other dogs. I understand their meetings, caucus meetings, and in spite of everything that seems to be happening within the PDP, the Wike issue, the not being able to reconcile with the PDP Presidential Council, you would think PDP is weak. But I saw the PDP rally at Katsina. It was almost everybody living in Katsina came for that rally. And if those people have a PVC and they're actually voting for PDP, then there's a call for concern. Then, then you come down to Edo State, where they had a presidential rally last week, and they use the university hall, what they call the Ugbo main gate, the feed there. It was a quarter of people from the real videos I see, not the one you saw playing on the TV. The real on-ground video, live videos I see, I was shocked to see the population who came for that rally. For
the PDP?
Yeah, for the APC, the presidential rally done by Tinubu and spearheaded by the Oshomole's group of APC. So I kind of wonder, as in
sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
What shocked you about the numbers? That they were a lot, or that they were?
Yeah, considering that is a state that used to be an APC state, and that is the state that has produced the likes of Oshomole and some of them, and it's always a very close battle anytime. And considering also that the PDP have an issue whereby the Danobi's faction, not the governor's faction, as at today, has all their names in the House of Rep and House of Assembly list. I was actually thinking that the APC, who have no single issue as to their candidates actually being uploaded by INEC and being recognized, they have all their candidate fees. I was so surprised that the crowd and population of people who came for that presidential rally for Bola Ahmed Asiwaju Tinubu, it was so shocking we could count them. And so is it that our predictions, or what we thought that the advantage the ruling party had overnight, has it diminished? And you see a PDP rally now from state to state, you see the crowd. You see a Labour Party, though I still fear for them because they don't have enough presence in the north. The Labour Party crowd in the northern areas, you also see the small crowd, and in the west, that seems to be that ought to be the hot zone for the APC. You can see that the Labour Party is also having presence in the southwest. So the analysis of these 23 elections is that I see a surprise coming. I see a shocker coming. Nobody should rest on his hours. I will enjoy political parties to please be at their best. They should do all campaigning within the tenets of how the Electoral Act actually allows them. And they should not just rest. They also enjoy the third force of the opposition party. They should please see how they can come together and have a common force and voice. And see compromise here, agreement here, and understanding can be reached so that they can actually have a cohesion and form a good alternative to the main opposition party of the day, which Nigeria seems to be losing confidence in. So it's a battle for all. I don't see it as a one-way thing. I see it as it's going to be a fair contest. And the president has assured us with the introduction of beavers by INEC, it's going to be one of the most free and fair elections. I expect this to be one of the most wonderful elections Nigeria has ever had after the MK Abiola 1994 general election. So it's going to be I tag it as an election of surprises and shocker. So we wait to see the outcome by the 25th, where the first shout to be made of the elections, and we can assess it further from there.
That's enough. That's a good breakdown. Now let's head into some specific things that have happened and yes, your reactions to them. Let's start with this little bit of a statement actually by Festus Keyamo, Minister of State for Labour and Employment, and also one of the spokesmen of the APC. You've mentioned the APC, the PDP, and broken down how you've seen their progress so far. Now, Mr. Keyamo said very categorically that when he uses when his candidate, if his candidate should win, that they will save a spot right next to, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for Peter Obi, because he's doing a very wonderful job for the APC. What do you make of that statement? He said that initially they did not want to put it out this way, but it's so close to the election that things cannot change. And now they feel more comfortable saying truth. I'm even speaking about some APC supporters who've come on the show here. They have this same rhetoric that Peter Obi is doing a very good job for them. Do you think this is how it should actually turn out? Do you think they have a point?
I keep telling you, if you want to take statements, you want to hold people by their statements, you should pay lesser attention to statements made by politicians and more politicians who are in the ruling party. Peter Obi, in all fairness to him, is an emerging force. I see his chances at the presidential election, that is my own personal opinion, to be very slim, not to be that too bright. But however, he might also be a determining factor as to who will win the election. The same way the APC are happy that he's going to diminish the votes of the PDP, they should also not also feel comfortable that he's going to diminish the vote for PDP. It's going to also affect them. If you see the crowd in his campaign rally at Osogbo and the crowd who came for him, and if we assume those people to have a PVC, that means that place is gone. And that seems to be one of the strongholds for the APC. So it's vice versa. Obi's emergence, Obi's campaign, Obi's onslaught towards this 2020 presidential election, I don't think is going to sway it in the way they should watch it. I also pray the opposition party of the PDP, it's hard time. Whatever it will cost them, let them put their house in order. And see also how they can reach to opposition parties and have a common front, in order to launch a formidable fight against the ruling party of the day. But that being comfort zone the APC are having, that the emerging leader of the third force party in the form of Labour Party is going to dwindle their chance, is going to dwindle the chance of the PDP, I think is a comedy joke of the year. It's going to affect them, because where the campaign and the strength is coming from the Labour Party is the southern part of Nigeria, more particularly the southeast and the south. That means, are they saying, and if you look at it, some of those states are APC states. Are they now saying those places where it's having a stronghold, will they sleep? So it's going to be vice versa. And that is why I keep saying this election that's about to commence in this February is going to be a shocker. So nobody should rest on his ass. They should do their best. And I wish the best candidate win for the election.
All right. Still on the Labour Party and third force prospects. Over the last week on thereabouts, we had two major endorsements by two key statesmen, so to speak. We had one from former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who many have alleged has been a part of the Labour or the Peter Obi movement from the start. And we also had one from statesman from Niger Delta. They seem to endorse the candidate. So I like your own thoughts on this. Different people have spoken. People who the former president endorsed in the past now say that this endorsement doesn't count for much. Interestingly, he has endorsed both the PDP in 2019, and he has endorsed the APC in about 2015 when he had issues with Goodluck Jonathan. So at this point, what do you make of this endorsement? Does it in any way add to Peter Obi's momentum?
I don't want to talk about the issue of either statesmen or past president actually endorsing on the candidates. The elections are going to be won by the electorates who are actually voting. So, although it's not obviously the influence of past head of state and in their different capacity, and the affluence and influence they enjoy cannot be underestimated. But however, the electorates are very much aware of who is going to be their right candidate. And endorsement by past leaders of Nigeria, I don't think is actually the ending factor. The ending factor is who is going to sway the electorates for the day. And not also waving aside the strength of the ruling party of the day and what they've enjoyed over the years. I keep saying, if there's anybody who will win this election, is the one who has mustered enough force, who has reconciled his house, who has reached out to other persons, every relevant stakeholder, everybody who is involved in this process, who's leading to this process that leads to this election, who is going to be the winner of the day.
That's interesting. Now, let's go on the Labour Party. Now, you're from Edo State.
Yes.
Possibly you've already heard about this, but there have been several allegations against the national chairman of the Labour Party, allegations that he's collecting funds or money from certain candidates. We have one particularly in Edo State, one Mrs. TV, who is alleged to not have participated in the primaries at all, but somehow her name ended up in the list. That case is in court now, and it's still being dealt with. We also have the former Labour Party publicity secretary, Mr. Arabambi, also accused the national chairman of, doing some, having some funny business with respect to candidates and aspirants. I'd like your take. How do you think this makes the party look? Taking into account that as we speak, the DG or the former DG had to step down. He was convicted. The national youth leader was removed. Allegations of forgery, bribe, working against the party. And now we have allegations against the national chairman. What do you think is really going on with the Labour Party?
In fairness to the Labour Party and the sundry allegations against the national chairman, quite fortunately or unfortunately, I happen to know him personally. And it's quite unfortunate, but as a lawyer, I believe in fair hearing. The other people has made their sundry allegations against him. He has kept quiet. He has not made any comment or give any press statement or any rebuttal to that effect. And in law, we say when the other person is quiet, it's an affirmation, attestation, and acquiescence to the acts being actually perpetrated. In fairness to him, I don't believe in the integrity and sincerity of the Labour Party as a person. And considering personally I used to be involved in the activities, and I spotted some of these things and I had to recuse myself. This is not the patriotism, this is not the patrioticness of what we feel it actually entails. And I will still differ my opinion as to the allegations against the national chairman for some certain reasons. Let's wait for some time and let's hear his response before we give an analysis as to it.
All right. Well, do you in any way think that there is a difference between these parties? Because there's still that running narrative that the APC and the PDP are the same. Now people are trying to lump in even the Labour Party and other parties. And interestingly enough, I think people might not be aware, but about pretty much a number or a large number or a majority of the parties right now have one issue or another.
Yes.
We just saw the Action Alliance. That's a faction. That's two factions. We have with the AAC, they're in courts. They're still fighting.
Yes.
We have the PRP. A faction of the PRP has now formed a coalition with the AAC, Showare's party. They are in a coalition, but the other faction has the presidential candidate, which is Kola Abiola. We have the APM. They are still fighting about who the candidate. It's almost everywhere. We have the rescue movement. They substituted their candidates. The one that was substituted took it to court. They're still fighting. So it's I can go on and on with all of this. So the question now really, when I heard some Nigerians speaking the other day, and they had this feeling of dejectedness that where do we run to? We say the APC, the PDP is this, and then we say, okay, let us try these people. And they've not even had a taste of power, and they have a lot of controversy. So really, is there a difference? What should Nigerians do at this point?
I think one would take the parties individually. The APC, they seem to know they have their own issues. I won't say the Nigerians have given up on them, but I don't want to talk about them. The PDP, they should try to harmonize their differences and have a common force towards this next election. You talked about the AA. I think I seems to know the last time I think their vice presidential candidates were both on this in the studio together. I seems to know what is. I think they've been able to harmonize their position, and they are stronger by the day. And I saw the list of the presidential candidate that was released today. The candidate of the AAC, in the person of Major General El Mustafa, retired. His name is on the list alongside the vice president. I think that is a good plus for them, and that was the final list supposedly by INEC. Without, if there's no other further change, that is supposedly the list, and I think is a plus for the AA. They've been able to handle their situation quite differently from the other parties. It's a kudos to their part, and I honestly, as a stakeholder, I wish them the best in the forthcoming election. You go to seemingly the other smaller parties, like the Labour Party. The Labour Party, they might seem to be organized, they might seem to be together, but in the background, there are a lot of intricacies. Actually, there are some sections of the Labour Party movement who are not happy with some certain actions and impunity by the leadership of the Labour Party. And so the Nigerian electorate, the only thing at this junction, they should trust on the peculiarity of individuals contesting. They should not trust in party. Yes, they should build their confidence on the candidates they want for each local government, for each senatorial zone, for each House of Rep, for each assembly. They should build, if they know they are trustworthy candidate, they can see within their sphere, within their jurisdiction, I enjoy them to vote for such candidates with credibility and integrity. They should not hope on these political parties. They are seemingly, with just a little difference, they're almost all the same, having the same issues of corruption, with the exceptions of some very, very few of them. And so the Nigerian populace and the electorate should not lose hope. There's still hope in spite of the gloominess and in spite of the storm we're having. We're a developing nation. And I think other advanced nations of the world, they went through this process. And I know by the day, as we keep growing and having this political maturity, we'll advance to however it may be in the coming future.
All right. Now, speaking about perhaps, so to speak, endorsements on how things would go. Some of the latest development, or one of the latest development we're getting for the APC, is that President Buhari has categorically said that he will be stepping into the campaign for the candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I think a lot of people have been, having discussions and analysis that because President Buhari is not on the ballot, we're not sure where the votes he traditionally gets, where they might go. Definitely the ruling party wants to claim those votes. They say, now that he's not on the ballot, they will come to us. We have the PDP candidates, or some of them, some persons in the PDP camp, saying that those votes now will be going to former Vice President Atiku. Others say it will split. Others, there are a lot of them statements here and there. Do you think this movement by President Buhari will have a significant improvement or, foresee in the foreseeable results of the APC presidential candidate? Because there's always been this rhetoric that is not really his preferred choice, because we saw when President Obasanjo was in power, he pretty much campaigned as though he was the candidate. When he was leaving office for Yar'Adua, you couldn't tell if it was his campaign or not. So do you think this new development might be what tips the balance?
I don't actually think, and the clear answer to your question, I don't think Buhari's president, with all due respect to him and his office, involvement in the 2023 electionary campaign for the APC and his candidate, I don't think he's going to change anything. The answer to that is, look at the Katsina rally where President Buhari is from, and you see the crowd, the mammoth crowd, and the huge support that came for Atiku Abubakar. That is the clear answer to this. If his home state, where he seems to be to hail from, they could come out en masse for Atiku Abubakar. That means there's actually a surprise coming. And when you come down to the South, I don't see the APC standing any chance in the South, the Southeast and the South-South, with the exception of the Southwest, where their presidential candidate seems to come from. So there's going to be surprise in this coming election. I'm very, very sure of that. And I don't want to, I was actually thinking with the 23-man governor the APC has is going to automatically sway towards their direction. But I'm seeing some little changes and surprise, holistic changes. And if Atiku's campaign in Katsina, where the president hails from, and you could count persons, I don't know whether you saw the campaign. There was no single space in the stadium. It was filled with human beings coming out to endorse. And one thing with the Northerners, trust the Northerners. These guys have their PVCs. They are coming out to show support. They have their PVCs in touch with them. And that is an assessment. That is a take. That is an endorsement alone that this is who we want. And Katsina is a very key state. So Buhari's involvement in this election is not going to teach it anywhere. The same way the endorsement by the past president for any candidate is not. The people that is going to decide the next election is the electorates who have the PVCs. They are going to decide this election as to who will be Nigerian president.
Oh, that's really fair. But I'd just like to get your thoughts on what factors you think will most influence this election. We see that candidates, those who present themselves for the public scrutiny, they speak on their plans, they speak on their manifestos and all that. And that is the hope that we all have for democracy, where our leaders are chosen based on what they've presented and thereabouts. But we can't also deny that there are some controversies surrounding this election cycle. Some people call it the Wazobia election. We have a major candidate from pretty much the three major tribes and the geopolitical zones. So do you think that at the end of the day, people will be able to focus on the issues, or some of these divides we are seeing where some persons want to pitch one religion against another or pitch one ethnicity against another? At the end of the day, which do you think will take the lead and finally decide who the presidents will be?
The truth is that there are so many factors that are positive and negative that will influence the outcome of this next election. But one important factor is the relevance and the spread of the voters of each candidate. Their spread is going to determine the winner of this next election. The more spread of electorate you have that will cover the whole zones of Nigeria, the whole senatorial zones, divisions, that will, in a nutshell, that is the language, determine the next president of Nigeria. It's simple. Every other factor, like who has the financial means and who's been able to sway the voters, those are just additional factors. The word for it is the spread as to vote. I don't see the Labour Party having that. For a political party that's lacking in senatorial and even common House Assembly, I saw whether Jigawa or so, where the whole House Assembly candidate for Labour Party, they decamped to the APC. And I wonder how they are going to win the election anywhere. Which vote are they going to be? Are we to be expecting from a place like Jigawa? And so it's I don't know. And you have these two old parties, these two old parties who have been there for a while. And so I don't really know how we should expect. As I said, it's going to be an election of surprise. We should expect something spectacular, something from what we don't. It's going to be the fight of the titans, the fight of the two major political parties once again, and we should expect a surprise one, and it's going to be determined by the electoral spread of the two leading political parties who are able to form a common front one of them who are able to form a common front and reach out to both the electorates and every other stakeholder who are relevant in this 2023 presidential election. All
right. I don't know if you can quickly comment on what people are saying might be a problem, interpretation of the Constitution that a candidate has to win 25% in the majority of thereabouts, and that there could be some gray area if that could lead to a runoff. I don't know. What exactly does it mean, the breakdown of that?
I don't see that actually happening in this election. That is the prayer of the Labour Party people. And if anybody who is praying that kind of prayer is, with all due respect to them, I've heard some of their commentators and party members actually making that they are trying to see how they can secure vote. And I don't see this election is going to be won in the ballots. I don't see us going down to that era of what the Constitution provides is that for each of the senatorial zones, you must have 25% of the vote that was cast. And I feel the APC and the PDP, if they do their homework very well, they can get to that capacity. I don't see it as going to be a problem. I think in all the elections we'll be having in the years, that has not been a problem. And I don't think it will be a problem this time around.
All right. Thank you very much for that, your analysis and the breakdown. It's always good to have you here. Thanks for coming and for your thoughts.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right. That's all we can take on this segment of the Polity. We'll go now for a break and we'll take some updates and some news reports. When we return, the Polity continues. Stay with us.